So I'm on the red carpet, and then this guy goes, Blake, your tweets are amazing!
Wait, what?
Right? And I was like, wait. And he was like, your
just-
tweets are amazing! And I was like, are we saying that? Like, this is not okay.
Don't talk like that, no.
And the woman's like, next to him goes, well, I mean, they are. And I was like, well, thank you. And your husband's tweets are even better. And I was like, oh.
Blake Lively now stands at the center of a full-blown public crisis, and the only people still on her side seem to be the ones billing her by the hour. Yesterday, I broke down how Justin Baldoni's former agent, a man with no loyalty to Justin and nothing to gain by speaking out, testified in a deposition and described Blake's entire scheme as resembling extortion. Not a simple misunderstanding or miscommunication. What emerged instead was a deliberate campaign of pressure and manipulation, supported by texts, emails, and a timeline that reads more like a slow-motion takeover than a creative dispute. Now, attention shifts to the person who should be her most dependable witness, her manager, the very person whose entire role revolves around protecting her image, defending her interests, and managing damage when things go south. Yet when the court called, he showed up calm, composed, and handed over exactly what Blake didn't need, the truth. When asked directly whether Blake had ever approached him with claims of harassment, emotional distress, or any issue during the filming of It Ends With Us, he didn't hesitate or play word games. He simply said no. And that single word might be the most damaging one in Blake's entire case. This wasn't her hairstylist or a casual friend. This was the person paid to oversee her career, the one who would have been the first call if something had gone wrong. The fixer, the strategist, the behind-the-scenes operator. Yet apparently she never told him a thing. That leaves two possibilities. Either Blake was so scared and isolated that she couldn't even confide in her most trusted advisor, or she had nothing to report in the first place. And right now, the evidence points to the latter. Her manager didn't try to cover for her. He didn't pretend she'd come forward with concerns. He didn't act shocked or confused. He essentially said, "I'll take your money, but I won't lie." It was the professional version of saying, "I support you in theory, but I'm not risking legal trouble for you." What made it even colder was that he didn't seem angry or betrayed, just detached, like someone quietly counting down the days until his contract ends. You can practically picture him on the stand, polite but distant, already mentally moved on to his next client, the one who won't drag him into subpoenas or depositions. That composure wasn't loyalty, it was self-preservation. By now, you'd expect Blake to be stacking up support from friends, co-stars, or colleagues, anyone willing to vouch for her. Instead, the people showing up are giving the legal version of, "Yeah, I was there," and nothing like that happened. The irony is brutal. Her supposed inner circle is now unintentionally dismantling her case, each one reinforcing that she never mentioned any harassment until things fell apart with Wayfarer. Not during filming, not in private messages, not through her team, never. You can almost feel the court's patience wearing thin. Every new witness creates more distance between Blake and her own allegations. Remember, this is the same Blake Lively who claimed she was so terrified of Justin Baldoni that she couldn't even turn her camera on during Zoom calls. Yet somehow, she still negotiated her contract, demanded her executive producer credit, and pushed for marketing control. That doesn't sound like fear. It sounds like strategy. Like someone using vulnerability as a tool when convenient, then snapping back into control when it comes to money and authority. You can't play both roles, the fragile victim and the powerful negotiator, at the same time. You can't claim trauma while running your own PR operation, approving promotional materials, and managing image control down to the last hashtag. You can't claim emotional distress while your manager, the one person who'd have immediately contacted a lawyer, swears you never said a word. Managers don't get to be unaware. If they don't know, it's because they weren't told, and that silence becomes its own testimony. And that silence is deafening. Each deposition just amplifies it. Everyone on her payroll is being asked the same question. Did Blake tell you anything? And every time the answer is no. No excuses, no qualifiers, just no. If this really happened, why did she tell no one? She had power, influence, and direct lines to executives who would have acted instantly. But when it matters most, there's no record, no paper trail, just a manager shrugging and saying, "She never mentioned it." His short answer says more than a long statement ever could. Because when someone known for controlling every part of her image suddenly has no story to give, it's not an accident, it's exposure. The optics are brutal. A manager's job is to protect and spin, and if he won't do it now, It's either because he doesn't believe her, or she gave him nothing to work with. That's the poetic tragedy here. The one person meant to shield her image is now dismantling it simply by staying neutral. This isn't silence born of loyalty, it's silence born of legal caution, the kind of silence that comes from people realizing they don't want their names attached to something unstable. They see the train wreck coming and are stepping off the track. Even Ryan Reynolds, usually the king of witty PR, has gone quiet. His social media is all sterile brand content and zero personality. No jokes, no humor, just the energy of someone distancing himself from chaos. The brand that once sold perfect couple now feels mechanical and cold, like it's running on fumes. And then there's Blake's own silence. No denials, no statements, not even an anonymous leak. Just complete withdrawal. No events, no posts, no press. It's not damage control, it's disappearance. The Hollywood version of sneaking out in the night and hoping the neighbors don't see the moving truck. But the public has noticed. Every new document makes this look less like a victim's plea and more like a failed power grab. Even her legal team seems exhausted, realizing they might be defending a story that keeps shifting beneath them. It's not just that her manager refused to lie, it's that he didn't even pretend to believe her. That indifference cuts deeper than any opposition could, because it's not ignorance, it's experience. The instinct to stay quiet when something doesn't add up. If Blake Lively is wondering where all her defenders went, the truth may be simpler than she wants to admit. They were never really there. Only the paid ones. And even they aren't willing to twist themselves into legal knots to defend a collapsing story. What's unfolding now isn't betrayal. It's the natural implosion of a narrative built without witnesses, without evidence, without support. Because in the end, a house of cards doesn't need an enemy to fall apart. It just needs a little wind. That's my opinion. Little wind. That's my opinion.